started a war. Hamas is a resistance organization. Resistance organizations don't start a war. Resistance organizations respond to a war against their people, respond to oppression of their people. The war began 75 years ago when the state of Israel declared war on the Palestinian people. And from time to time, now Palestinians have never had an army. Palestinians have never had a military. Palestinians have never had a tank or a warplane, ever in the history. So today, when a small group of resistance fighters comes out in an attempt to take hostages and have managed to completely paralyze the entire state of Israel, the problem is not the resistance fighters, who, by the way, came to take hostages. So the accusations of them murdering or killing so many civilians makes absolutely no sense. Now, again, we don't know for sure, except that we heard from Israelis who were there, who were hostages that were released, that great numbers of Israelis were killed by Israeli fire. And this is part of an Israeli, it makes sense because this has been Israeli policy going back, for a very long time. They tried to release hostages using military force, and they kill the hostages as well, many of the hostages. So they've done this before, and we know that this is a pattern. So it's not outrageous. So the Palestinians we don't know how many were killed by Palestinian fire, but we know for sure that many were killed by Israeli fire. And there's the accusation that somehow the resistance began the war is absurd. This is not a war. This is a flare of a war that's been going on for a very long time. And Israel was humiliated. Israel, who thinks it has some kind of a great military force, was humiliated by a small group of fighters who came from one of the poorest, most oppressed places on earth. And so they were humiliated, and now they're taking out their revenge. What we're seeing in Gaza is not a strategic military operation. We are seeing bloody acts of savagery and revenge. That's all this is. The Palestinian fighters are continuing to fight. The Israeli military is still being killed by the Palestinian military during the battles taking place in Gaza. So the fact that they're killing thousands of civilians is not impacting the ability of the Palestinians